Hello again, everyone. So hopefully you enjoyed Buffalo Week. What I'm going to be doing today is a preview of the conference finals in the NHL playoffs now that they've all been set up, and they start today at 1 o'clock. So the first game today at 1 o'clock, the first series is going to start, is going to be the Eastern Conference Final where we have the Lightning taking on the Rangers. So the Rangers did win the President's Trophy for having the highest point total in the regular season. Sometimes that can be a hindrance and kind of a bad thing to have that win because then make it deep into the playoffs kind of thing, but they are proving that theory wrong as they've now made the conference finals. So looking at the Eastern Conference Finals, like I said, you got the Lightning versus the Rangers. This series is more tough for me to determine who's going to win this series, kind of make a prediction kind of thing, because I feel it's a little more evenly matched than the Blackhawks and the Ducks series over in the West. I'll get to that one in a minute. Looking at the Eastern Conference Finals, obviously I'm going to talk about the goalie situation first because you got Bishop and you got Lundqvist, who have been playing fantastic during this postseason. Lundqvist for the Rangers has a 1.6 GAA and a 944 save percentage, and then Bishop for the Lightning has a 1.81 GAA and a 931 save percentage. So those are fantastic, ridiculous numbers. You can look at that and think that if a team can score 2 goals, they're probably going to win that game in this series. I'm seeing this series. It's going to go 6 games. I'm gonna tell you my prediction right now. I'm going to say the Lightning are going to win it in 6, and I'll get to my reasons behind that. But in those 6 games, I see a lot of 1-0 scores, 2-1 scores, 2-1 overtime games. I see a lot of low scoring games. If there's a 3-4 goal night for a team, that's going to be because Lundqvist was having a rough night or Bishop was having a rough night. As great as those numbers are, every goalie is going to have an off night, and that's going to, I think, what's going to be the deciding factor in this series is if one of them has a rough night or doesn't make the call kind of thing in one of those games, then that's going to be the deciding factor, I think. But these guys have been playing fantastic, ridiculously well so far this postseason, so I don't see that happening. To look at how they got here, the Lightning had a 7-game series in the first round against the Red Wings, and then a 6-game series against the Canadiens in this past round. Then the Rangers had a 5-game series against the Penguins, and then a deep 7-game series just recently against the Capitals. So they had long series to get here. They've played in 13 and 12 games respectively. You didn't see any 4-game sweeps or anything like that. The 5-game series against the Penguins with the Rangers, I think was a bit of a surprise. I saw that series going at least 6 or 7, so that's kind of I think lucky for them to get through that. The Lightning are going to be a little bit more well-rested, obviously, beating the Canadiens in 6. The Rangers had that 7-game series against the Capitals, so they might be a little less rested, but this time of the season in these playoffs, teams step up and players step up. And that's why I think the Lightning are going to win this series in 6. They have a lot more spread out production from their roster. Johnson's has 8 goals and 4 assists. Kucherov's has 6 goals, 5 assists. Killorn has 3 goals and 6 assists. Pallet has 3 goals and 5 assists. And Stamkos now has 3 goals and 7 assists. Took him a while to find his scoring touch, but now he's done that, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this series. Is if Stamkos has now found a way to score, that's going to be the turning point in this series, and I think Stamkos is going to be able to take this Lightning into the Stanley Cup final and make the next round. When you look at the Rangers, outside of Brassard and Stepan, who both have 8 points respectively, Brassard has 5 goals, 3 assists, and then Stepan has 3 goals and 5 assists. They don't have a lot of other guys that have really been producing for them. Kreider's got 5 goals, yes, for sure, that's important, but Lundqvist isn't going to be able to get you to the Stanley Cup Finals. You're going to have other guys outside of Brassard, Stepan, and Kreider getting some goals, making some opportunities. Obviously, getting traffic in front of the net is key for both of these teams, kind of thing. And as great as Lundqvist is, it puts a lot of pressure on your goalie to know that if he goes out and he gives up 2 goals, then that's probably going to be a loss. If it's almost like he's going to have to go out there and have 4 shutouts in order for them to make it to the next round, kind of thing. And I think Lundqvist has the skill and the ability to maybe give you 2 shutouts, but expecting him to give you 4, I think is a lot. Like I said, the Rangers are facing an equally tough goalie in Bishop, and I just think the Lightning are going to have a better chance of finding a way to get through Lundqvist than the Rangers are going to have at getting through Bishop, just because their talent is more spread out at the Lightning. I mentioned 5 guys who have 8+ points, and the Rangers only have 2 that have 8+ points, kind of thing. So their talent's more spread out kind of thing than the Rangers are. So that's why I'm taking the Lightning in 6. Switching it over to the Western Conference Final, I'm going to start this right off the bat. I'm going to take the Blackhawks to win it in 6, which I think is going to be a bit of a surprise for people. But the reason I'm doing that is I think they're more well prepared for this series than the Ducks. The Ducks beat the Jets in 4, which I think were surprised that the Jets even made the playoffs, so that was a sweep for them. Then they beat the Flames in 5, which I think was impressive. The Flames made it to the second round, but I don't think they've had a very tough opponent until now. Now the Ducks are playing the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks had the Predators in the first round, which they beat in 6 games, which I think was a tough challenge there. And then, a surprise to me, being a Wild fan, the Blackhawks did sweep the Wild. I saw that being at least a 5-6 game series kind of thing, so I think it was kind of a shock that they were able to sweep them. Both these teams are obviously going to be well rested. I just think the Blackhawks had a tougher road getting to this conference final than the Ducks, and that's why I think the Blackhawks are going to win this series in 6. The Ducks do, obviously, starting off with goaltending again in this series. Fantastic goalie in Anderson. He's got a 1.96 GAA and a 925 save percentage. So the Blackhawks are going to have to find a way to get pucks behind this guy, and it's easier said than done. When you look at the Blackhawks, they have Crawford and they have Darling. The 8 wins that they've had so far in order to make it to the conference finals, Crawford's got 5 of them, Darling's got 3. Crawford's had a 2.60 GAA and a 916 save percentage, and then Darling has a 2.21 GAA and a 936 save percentage. So Darling's numbers are a little bit better, but again, a little skewed because he has 3 of the wins, Crawford has 5. So we'll see who's going to be in the net when this conference final starts tomorrow. And then I think they're probably going to go with the hot hand with who's going to be in net for the Blackhawks. Looking at the Blackhawks, obviously they've played 10 games. The Ducks have only played 9. But so talking about players with the Blackhawks, Kane and Taves have both been playing fantastic. Kane's got 7 goals, 6 assists. Taves has 4 goals and 7 assists. Duncan Keith's got a couple goals and 8 assists. Sharp's got 4 goals, 5 assists. Marian Host has got a goal and 7 assists. So all these star players have been playing well, stepping up in the playoffs. And I think if they can find a way to score some goals on Anderson, then they'll be able to win this series kind of thing. I think Crawford and Darling are going to have to step it up a little bit more against this Ducks team, but I think they definitely have the skill set to do that as a goaltending tandem. And I mean, if Crawford plays well, then like I said, I think they go with the hot stick and put Crawford between the nets. But if he has a rough game 1, or if Darling starts game 1 and he has a rough game 1, then Crawford starts game 2. We'll see what happens. I think whoever starts in game 1, if they play well, will be the starter for the series. If they play poorly, then we see the other guy in net for game 2. Looking at the Ducks, obviously Corey Perry has 7 goals and 8 assists, so he's been having a great playoffs. Getzlav has 2 goals and 10 assists. Silverberg has 3 goals and 8 assists. Kessler's got 4 goals, 5 assists. So those are the guys that have been playing really well for him. Bolesky's got 5 goals, so he's been contributing as well for the team. So I think they're evenly matched up when it comes to position players, a little more so than the Lightning and the Rangers series. And then I think that's kind of the difference is the Lightning Rangers series, they're pretty evenly matched up when it comes to the goaltending matchup. And then the Blackhawks Ducks series, I think they're evenly matched up when it comes to the position players, not so much the goaltending matchup. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to take the Blackhawks in 6. Like I said at the beginning, the main reason for that is I think they've had a tougher road getting here, and they're a little more well prepared than the Ducks. I think the Ducks now finally have some competition. So we'll see how the Ducks play the Blackhawks in Game 1. Again, I see this series being very low scoring, maybe some 2-1s, some 3-2s, probably a couple overtime games in this series as well. It's going to be tough. I'm going to wait until this series is done before I make my predictions on who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Based on these predictions, it's going to be the Lightning placing the Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup final if my predictions end up coming true with this series. So I'll wait and see who wins these series. If my predictions come true, then I'll kind of evaluate this series, and then that'll determine who I think is going to be winning the Stanley Cup. So good luck to all 4 teams in this making their appearances now in these conference finals, as the conference finals start off now. And hopefully you've enjoyed my thoughts on these. If you agree, disagree, feel free to comment. You can follow me on Twitter at gham614, and I will be talking to you tomorrow once the NBA conference finals have been set up. Okay, thanks again. Bye-bye.